Hey everyone, I've traveled a long way to a beautiful destination that's loaded with fish. And on this week's episode, we're going to go out in search of the hybrid striped bass, a place I've never visited before, and I'm really looking forward to it. You get to come along. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
As you can see, I've brought you to a beautiful place. Excellent landscaping. Right up top there is a fantastic deck area with a pool and a jacuzzi. Wonderful lodge rooms overlooking the lake as we swing around here. Got a great picnic area, some docks that you can pull your boat right up to here at the lodge. This is the lodge at Lake Oconee. It's located at Lake Oconee, which is an hour and a half or so southeast of Atlanta, Georgia. This lake is teeming with several different species of fish: bass, crappie, catfish. And on this week's episode, we're going to take you out in search of the hybrid stripers that swim here. They stock them here by the hundreds of thousands. The fishing is excellent. We're going to go out and explore it with the help of some guides this week. It's going to be a lot of fun in my first trip here. While we're out doing that, we're going to take you around your local region for this week's fishing reports, both fresh and saltwater, from our expert team of insider reporters from lakes, rivers, and bays. Right where you live, you get the first-hand reports for this weekend. Right now, though, we're going to get the Nitro Z20 launched into Lake Oconee, get you back to the FSN studios, and get it all started with your weekend planner.
Hi, everybody. Great news. The Salooner tables are predicting fantastic fishing this weekend. Saturday's game fish activity is listed as excellent and is predicted to have some of the best conditions of the month. Look for the prime daytime hours to begin at 11:40 on Saturday and 12:23 on Sunday, with top evening action starting roughly around midnight. The sun will rise at 6:37 and set at 8:11. And we have a new moon with only 1% visible, so evenings will be very dark. We're coming right back with fishing updates from around the area. Plus, I'll return with your 2019 Bass Master Classic champion, Ott Defoe, to answer this week's Ask the Pro question. More in a minute.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Request our free 2019 fishing guide at orangebeach.com.
Doing a technique called flatlining, pound for pound, the hardest fighting fish in fresh water. There's a bite. There's a bite. There's a bite. He's got it. He's got it. He's got it. He's got it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, we've got one on. Hey, everybody, we're out on Lake Oconee in Georgia, and on the most miserable of days, it is raining, overcast, windy, little cool fronts blown through, kind of chilly. You can see we're all geared up here, but I have a fish on. I'm going to explain how we're going to fish today shortly, but right now I'm going to see if I can land this fish. And while I do, let me give you a little information about Lake Oconee. It's about an hour and a half southeast of Atlanta, Georgia. It's 19,000 surface acres, but that doesn't really tell the story. 364 miles of shoreline. So this thing wanders all over the place. It's got several arms and forks and creeks running in and out everywhere. A lot of places to fish on this lake. The water is relatively clear. The water is deep. Some places over 200 feet deep. The lake was impounded in 1979, and it's got a lot of hybrid stripers and stripers in it. That's what we're fishing for today. I hope that's what I've got on here first thing. There's the fish. This is not a big one by any stretch, but it's a start anyway. Circle hook right in the corner of his mouth, exactly textbook like you're supposed to do it. There we go, little fat specimen right there. A hybrid striper is a cross between a female striped bass and a male white bass. and they make for a wide, stocky, hard-fighting, hard-pulling fish, probably pound for pound, the hardest fighting fish in fresh water. And there are literally millions of them in this lake. You can kind of tell by the broken lines down the side. But anyway, we'll talk more about that in a minute. I want to explain the setup, how we're fishing, but that's some information about Lake Oconee. We're putting the fish back.
Hey, for you crappie fishermen that like to fish Grand Lake, but you haven't had a chance to make it yet, don't feel like you've missed out on the shallow bite here, because I don't think it's happened yet. Fished it today with some friends. We found exactly what the reports we've been getting had the same results. We caught most of our fish 12 to 15 feet over 20 to 25 foot of water around docks in front of the big spawning areas. And those docks that have a lot of crappie activity and a crappie cleaning station there, you can also catch some nice blue cats around those areas right now as well. Cut bait, no weight at all. Fishing's really starting to heat up at all lakes across the state, all species, and you can catch them, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
There's a bite, there's a bite, there's a bite. Get it out of the rod holder. Yep, that's a fish. Fish on. Hey everybody, we got another one. We're still here on Lake Oconee, Georgia. And let me explain to you the setup we've got going on here. In fact, it may be a little easier for me to show you this other one since it doesn't have a fish on it right now. While I'm fighting this fish, it takes a while to get these fish in, but you can see right here, I've got rod holders set up, and I'm actually pulling 4 rods. Got one straight out to the side, one straight back, another one straight back, which is the 3rd one, and then this one is the 4th one out to the side. And I'm pulling live bait. In fact, let me show you here what we're fishing with. These are shiners. Pretty big, the biggest ones we can find. They're bass shiners. And we're doing a technique called flatlining. And basically we're just pulling these behind the boat slowly with, I got my Motor Guide XI5 trolling motor up here, and I'm watching my speed on my graph, and I'm trying to stay about 1 mile an hour, and I don't have any weight on these. So I'm just pulling them behind the boat at a steady pace with no weight, and we're fishing for fish up in the water column, and I'll explain what that means here in a little bit. But this is my setup. It's pretty technical. You've got to go the exact right speed. You've got to have the baits the right distance behind the boat, which right now is a long ways. About, I'm letting them go about 70 or 80 feet back there behind the boat. I'm gonna have to get a net. See if I can slide him in here. Got him. All right. These fish in this lake run 3 to 5 pounds, generally. That's the size fish you're gonna catch. And that's right in the range that this hybrid striper is. There you go. Boy, they'll fight you. And look at there, once again, right in the corner of the mouth, and now he's got my glove. That little bitty hook, if you can believe it, I'm catching those fish on that tiny little circle hook there. And there you go, just another good one right there. But that's my setup. It's called flatlining, and a lot of guys do it with planer boards as well. You can catch them on a jigging spoon, on an umbrella rig, or a swim bait. Those are your 3 baits. Looks like something may be hitting that one. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you're moving. Yep, that's a fish. That is a fish. Whoa, now he decided. I knew it. I knew it. A lot of times they don't fight until they get up here and see the boat, and then they decide. Look at him pull that rod down. I've got my drag set really, really light. There we go. Got that one in the net. All right. Hey, I do want to mention that you may be asking, do you have to catch these fish on live bait? The answer today is yes, but in talking to the guides and the locals and Doug Nelm's crew and his outfit, you can catch these fish on artificials, on lures, if they're up and feeding. Depending on the day you're here, depending on what's going on, you can catch them on a jigging spoon, on an umbrella rig, or a swim bait. Those are your 3 baits, but I'll let that one go back. You've got to catch them when they're feeding, and here's what that means. When you're driving around out here, you look at your graph and you see all these fish out in this really deep water, 50 plus, then those fish are not actively feeding. When you see them move up on these points and humps and they get in less than 30, that's when you can catch them on an artificial. You throw that umbrella rig up there, swim it across the top of them, throw a jigging spoon out there and bounce it off the bottom. When you see those fish hugging the bottom, up on top of those humps and points, 25, 30 feet deep, you can catch them on an artificial. But according to these same locals and the same guides, the last few days, these fish have been really, really finicky here. I don't resort to live bait often, but I will if that's what I have to do to catch a fish. We travel a long ways and we've got to catch some, so we do whatever we have to. And it's actually working out a little bit today.
Hi friends, Cajun Phil here with the Fox Sports Southwest Louisiana Fish Report. Tell you what, we got a little break in this rain. It's been raining for 2 days. I'm talking about like bad stuff. But you know what? Even in the rain, our guides are going out there guiding today. That's why Captain Kevin's down here doing the fishing report. Catching lots of redfish. No speckled trout right now, so too much rain here lately. As far as the freshwater scene goes, keep in mind, all this rain has got the rivers, Sabine and Calcasieu River, messed up. They're muddy. They're not doing very well on those right now. But as far as the other parts of the state, everywhere I talk to, they're catching big bass, a lot of bass, bluegill, chickapin, goggle eye, white perch, better known as crappie. Give us a call. Come on down. Join us and get you some. Till next time, this is Cajun Phil for Captain Kevin saying, happy fishing, may God bless it. Woo, keep this rain away. We'll see you next week.
Hey folks, Captain Greg Varm here with this week's Fox Southwest Outdoors Report. We're going to start this week's report on the lower Texas coast. Captain Wayne Davis, he says fishing in lower Laguna Madre, it's heating up despite the strong southerly winds they're dealing with. Captain Wayne said concentrate on the East Flats and fish near the color changes. The pro trick is to keep your bait in the lower third of the water column. Throw your dark colored K-Wiggler Willowtails and you're going to catch some nice trout and redfish. Now let's move up to Baffin Bay. Hey, Captain Chris Elliott, he said from Corpus all the way to Baffin, water temps are rising and he is catching solid boxes of both specks and redfish along the flats off the intercoastal waterway. Hey, remember, if you're wanting to fish Freeport or Galveston areas, we fish inshore, offshore, shark hunts, and we have our kids' summer fishing camps coming up. And remember, we have waterfront lodging at Bay's Landing. Hey, give me a call or check out our website. Hey, I'm Captain Greg Varm. I'll see y'all next time.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lou's. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland, the best in bass and crappie lures, heads to tails. Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades. Balls Out, made in the USA. Heavy-duty mounts for your fish finders.
Well, there's a good Oconee hybrid for you. Hey, I got a bite. I got a bite. And on a circle hook, you just start reeling. And it's fish. All right, let me slow us down just a little bit. And I'm out in literally 100 feet of water, but I'm not fishing down in 100. I'm fishing up high in 100 feet of water. My bait's probably not more than 10 feet or so below the surface, and I'm fishing for those actively feeding fish. It's a hybrid, and it's a pretty good one. There, he went in the net. There, we got him. All right, that's a good solid hybrid there. Well, there's a good Oconee hybrid for you. Just a good solid slab. Catch and release here, folks. They really protect this fishery. So if you come here, don't expect to be filleting a bunch of these up. We really like to protect them. Let that fish go back. See you, buddy.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you once again by the good folks at Fiberworks Marine Collision. They'll do your work, they'll do it right, and they'll do it fast. Now this week we've come to one of Texas's best kept secrets. It's little Lake Fairfield in Fairfield State Park. Once thought to be a dead lake due to an algae outbreak fish kill, Fairfield has rebounded in a big way. It's got a lot of bass in it, and it's got some big bass in it. Now over at Lake LBJ, the crappie bite is on right now, and it's all about the rocks and the docks. You'll need to shoot your lure under those docks in order to get it in front of these crappie. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by the good folks at Fiberworks Marine Collision. Look us up on Facebook, Lone Star Lakes.
There's a little point coming out here, and I usually get bit every time I turn that corner right there. There's a bite. I don't know if it's a fish or not. It's fish. It's fish. Got him. You do not set the hook on a circle hook or you'll lose the fish every time. So all I'm doing is just starting to reel and gently pull back on it. And there's a fish right there. Taking a long time. In fact, we're going to have to time lapse some of this just to get it in a 30-minute television show. Good one. Good hybrid. Yeah. There we go. That's a fatty right there. They do such a good job. The Georgia Wildlife Department does such a good job managing this fishery. And they did some angler surveys, and the surveys turned up that the anglers here, the locals, and people that live here and fish here all the time, wanted to catch hybrids. So they obliged and started stocking more hybrids. And that's what you come up with. Look how fat that fish is. Out here eating these shad, these herring. They are very healthy fish here. There's way more hybrids in here than there are stripers. So we'll let that one go back. That's a lot of fun. If you want to come here and do this, I'm going to give you all the contact information for Doug Nelms and his guide service. He runs 3 or 4 boats, stays real busy here, so you better book him in advance if you want to come here. And you can bring a corporate outing or a group with you and have just a great time out here doing this. Come on over to Georgia, catch some of these hybrid stripers.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and the follow button on Twitter. And watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free Waypoint TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide's wireless and easy to use XI3, Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist, Strike King, Taiwan Han, and Tracker Boats, America's best-selling fishing boats.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question, where we get a chance to gain some wisdom from professional anglers. This week, Kate wants to know, what is the biggest fish of any species you've ever caught? To get the answer, we checked with the 2019 Bassmaster Classic champion, Ott Defoe.
My biggest fish that I've ever caught was actually, as most people probably, a saltwater fish, and it was a Goliath grouper. We'd been out, we were fishing for grouper out offshore and stuff, and we were catching some snapper and some black grouper and different stuff. And I hook into this one and I can't really get it off the bottom very well, and finally, I mean, it was a fight for 20 or 30 minutes, I think, and get it up there, and it's a Goliath grouper, probably an 80-pounder. But the guy that I was with, he said, I don't mean to bust your bubble, but for a Goliath, that's really just a baby. And I said, here it is, probably an 80 or so, you know, close to 100-pound fish.
Thank you, Ott. If you have a question to ask one of the pros, just visit our website, click on the Ask the Pro link, and let us know. Now let's see who wins this week's Big Catch of the Week.
We are back at the boat ramp at Lake Oconee, Georgia. After a miserable weather day, but a good fishing day, we managed to catch several hybrid striped bass. Time right now for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. He's Dwayne Crenshaw of Irving, Texas, showing an 8-pound largemouth bass he caught at Richland Chambers Reservoir in Texas. If you'd like to have your big fish shown on television, you can enter one of two ways. Go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Big Catch of the Week area on the right side of the homepage and follow the instructions. Or go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/foxsportsoutdoors. Look on a Tuesday post, comment on the Big Catch post that we post every Tuesday, follow the instructions there, and you could be our next winner. I can't tell you how important the gear was to catching those finicky hybrids today. I'm embarrassed to tell you how many hours I fished before the guides helped me figure out what I needed to do to actually catch some. Now the rod and reel setup is a great one. This is the Lew's TP1 Black Speed Stick rod. It's a new rod in the Lew's line, a medium action. You want a soft tip fishing for these finicky hybrids. This is a great rod with the wind grip handles. It's got the microwave guide system. The reel is the Lew's LFS Speed Spool. It's the best $99 fishing reel on the market, in my opinion. Got everything you need, low profile, fits in the palm of your hand, did a great job of fighting these fish. As for the main line, I had to drop down and re-spool with 12-pound test Berkley Big Game main line. Then behind that, here was the rig. We had a little glass bead and then a tiny little barrel swivel. Then we had to put 10 feet of fluorocarbon leader. On the end of that, we used a tiny little number 4 circle hook, and that was critical. I can't believe that we could catch those hybrids on that small of a hook. Then we used a little shiner, hooked him through both lips, and he was able to swim through that water 1 mile an hour, and that's how we finally caught those fish. This year, Rick Clunn won his 16th Bassmaster Tournament at the age of 72, and he caught 98 pounds of bass over the tournament out of the St. Johns River in Florida. After the tournament, he said something very important, quote, "A long time ago, I stopped paying attention to timelines, the terrible twos, the ugly teens, the midlife crisis, retirement time. I don't pay any attention to any of that. If you listen to everybody else, you'll get premature notions about who you really are." He's right. You are how old you think you are and how old you act. Your physical body may wear down, but there's no rule that says you have to be old. The only limits on you are the ones you place on yourself. And before we get out of here, I want to give you the contact information. First of all, for the lodge on Lake Oconee, beautifully situated right on the shore, everything you need very nearby. We thoroughly enjoyed our stay here, and you can book your room, the information you see on your screen. And for guide service, contact Doug Nelms. He's got several guides that work with him. They can put your entire crew out on some of these hybrid stripers, or they stay on the big crappie here on Oconee as well. You can contact him at the information you see on your screen. From Lake Oconee, Georgia, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.